My book club presentation, I had two books. I had The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Benito Cereno. I'm going to start off with The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Um, I'll start off with the main character, Ichabod Crane. He was a school teacher. He was very skinny and very goofy looking. He wasn't very confident. He kind of just made his way in the town, just going around and stuff. And as the book describes him on page 4, some scarecrow eloped from a cornfield. So they weren't very fond of him. They kind of made a lot of fun of him. But he was the main character, and I wouldn't consider him a dynamic character because he is still scared at the end of the book, so nothing really changed for him. Brom Van Brunt was another character. He was a big, strong guy. He was basically everything Ichabod wasn't, and he was also wanting to date Katrina. Then the next character would be Katrina Van Tassel and kind of her dad, because Ichabod wanted to date Katrina because of her dad's land. He wanted to be able to move up in the hierarchy, so he kind of wanted that power. But Katrina Van Tassel was a student of Ichabod's, and she was the girl that Brom and Ichabod were after. And then another character was the Headless Horseman. Now he wasn't a main character and that big of a character until the end, but he was the mystery and the story of the tales that were being told. The plot, it was not a very fast-paced plot. Like, nothing happened really until the end. But at the end, once it got going, it was really interesting to read. So, kind of to summarize it, at the beginning, they describe everybody and kind of set the scene. And then when it really gets going, Ichabod gets invited to the Van Tassel residence. And so he's trying to win Katrina over, so of course he's going to go. He gets there and everybody's having a good time and stuff, and he's listening to stories from old Van Tassel, Katrina's dad, and them. And so once he gets ready to leave, he goes to talk to Katrina, but she doesn't want him. So he leaves pretty mad, and when he leaves the party, he's on his way home, and he comes to the church that all the stories have been told at. So when he gets there, he feels this presence, whatever, and it's, of course, the Headless Horseman. The horseman throws his head at Ichabod and knocks him off. So the next day, people go looking for Ichabod, but they don't find him. So everybody's kind of wondering what's going on. They find the pumpkin that was smashed, but that's about it. They didn't really find much else. But that kind of left something like a mystery at the end there, because it's thought the Headless Horseman got him, but Brom always laughed when they brought the story up, and Brom was always pranking Ichabod, so it made it kind of seem like Brom may have something to do with it. But at the end of the story, Ichabod is told to be not dead because of a farmer comes back, and he said that Ichabod isn't dead, but it's thought that Ichabod left because of fear and Katrina. He knew he was not going to be able to be with Katrina, so he's kind of just left. Ichabod was very scared of everything. He didn't really go on a limb and do everything. So, but I did find a paragraph that was really weird to me. It says on page 8, in his devouring mind's eye, he pictured to himself every roasting pig running about with a pudding in his belly and an apple in his mouth, and the pigeons were snugly put to bed in a comfortable pie. So while most people would be looking at a field of animals and stuff, Ichabod was simply thinking of food. I mean, he thought about roasting pigs, and it even says, let's see, it says a necklace of savory sausages. So he was really thinking about the food. And now I'll move on to Benito Cereno. The main character, you would think would be Benito Cereno, but it's kind of Captain Delano. He's an American. He kind of supports slavery, and he's kind of all too trusting because he doesn't stop to the weird things that are happening, because he just turns a blind eye to the slaves. He doesn't really think much of them. He doesn't think they're smart enough to be able to pull something off, so he just doesn't worry about it. Another character is Benito Cereno. captain of the San Dominic, and he is in a state of trauma throughout the whole book. I mean, he is falling around and he is nervous and he's not in a good state. The next character is Babbo. He is a slave. He's a leader of the slaves, but he plays off as Benito's servant. So Captain Delano thinks that Babbo is just Benito's servant. And then Atufal, he is a helper of Babbo, and he is also a slave, but he is very big and intimidating. So he kind of scares everybody and holds everything in check. That's how they're been able to do the revolt. So kind of the summary of it is the San Dominic comes into the harbor. Captain Delano gets on his ship and goes out to them, and he sees they're in distress, kind of. So he gets some supplies. He meets Cereno because he thinks he's the captain. However, Sereno's acting very strange. Delano tries to figure out what happened to the ship, but he's not able to put it all together. He hasn't been able to figure it out yet. So Cereno makes up a story that wasn't believable. Delano is very superstitious of everything that's going on. Delano keeps ignoring all the strange occurrences. And there's so many different things, like a sailor was trying to give him a note, and then a slave hit another little white child on the head, and he just kind of ignored it. He didn't know what was happening. So then Babbo gives Cereno his daily shave, as Babbo calls it, and he cuts Sereno's neck, and Sereno's terrified of this because of the blood, because he thinks Babbo's going to get him. So after that, Delano has dinner with Cereno and them, and then when Delano's going to leave, Cereno jumps off the San Dominic and jumps onto Delano's boat. Babbo jumps after him and tries to kill him, so it's a scary moment, but Delano's men stop Babbo and save Cereno. And then after that, it's not really much of a story based on how it was happening. It's more of the court's deposition. So it states that the slaves did revolt, and then Babbo was to be killed Babbo was killed and burned. And then Cereno died a few months later because of Babbo's, it says kind of Babbo's mystery, he kind of felt horrible about the way things happened, so Cereno passed away. And for me, the ending, I'm not happy or sad about the ending. I mean, Cereno was kind of wrong for allowing slavery in the first place, but I hated that Cereno died because he went through a lot, and I don't know, I just wish that, he was still so young, he was 20-something, so I hate that he just passed away like that, but I don't think them having slaves were right in the first place. Babbo's actions were probably justified anyway, so that was the story. Thank you.